Incredible journey. Black woman CEO discovers heartwarming solution that grounded 50 flights. The early morning sun streamed through the office windows of Skyway Dreams, casting a warm glow over the bustling team gathered around Olivia Carter. They were all grappling with the catastrophic news. 50 flight cancellations that threatened to obliterate everything they had worked for. The vibrant city of Chicago pulsed outside, a perfect contrast to the heaviness in the air inside. Olivia could almost feel the weight of her employees' dreams and aspirations pressing down on her shoulders. Each cancellation echoed like an explosion in her heart, reverberating through the lives of her crew, many of whom had poured their souls into making this airline thrive. Clenching her fists, Olivia thought about the hard-working individuals she had chosen to lead. Many of them were from immigrant families, people who had entrusted their dreams and the livelihood of their loved ones to her company. Their faces, full of hope just a month ago, now clouded with uncertainty. She sensed the pounding in her chest, the tightness in her throat, as the pressure mounted. Could she rise above the storm? Amidst the chaos, her father's voice echoed in her head, filled with concern. Olivia, darling, are you sure this is the right path? An airline owned by a black woman? You need to think about our family's legacy. His caring worry cut deep, rustling resentments and self-doubts she thought she'd buried long ago. Just when she felt on the brink of achieving something monumental, that voice reminded her of the ground she could lose, not just in business but in her family's eyes. Things took a turn for the worse when her estranged brother, Marcus, unexpectedly returned to the city. He had always questioned her choices, his recent arrival igniting a swirling storm of sibling rivalry. You can't keep doing this, Olivia. You think you're changing the world, but you're risking everything. The hurtful words lingered in the room, feeding her own insecurities and scattering her focus. Desperation coursed through Olivia's veins, pushing her to act. In her most vulnerable moment, inspiration struck. Together We Fly. It was a community outreach initiative aimed at connecting her airline with the very people her employees served. Olivia envisioned a powerful tapestry of humanity, where neighbor helped neighbor, reinforcing the bonds that made their city strong. Rallying her team, Olivia felt hope ignite. Their enthusiasm was infectious, blossoming into smiles and laughter, even amidst the looming crisis. They set to work, sharing their own stories and inviting local residents to join in. As clips from their interactions began lighting up social media, a warm flood of support washed over her. It felt like they were redefining their community not just as employees, but as family. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The project burgeoned into something bigger than Olivia had dared hope for. But just as excitement soared, doubt set in. Would this be enough to mend the shattered reputation of her airline? Memories of her father's cautions and Marcus's digs flickered through her mind as she wrestled with her feelings, torn between community and her fractured heart. Standing at a turning point in her journey, Olivia realized she had to confront her fears to build not only an airline but a legacy. Would she soar above the doubts or let the weight of expectation drag her down? With the winds of change gusting around her, the question hung in the air: could her efforts truly elevate her business, her family bonds, and the dreams of those who believed in her? The days following the launch of Together We Fly felt like a whirlwind for Olivia. Each morning, as she entered the office, she was greeted by a cacophony of chatter and laughter, the energy palpable. Her team was reinvigorated, their spirit buoyed by a shared mission that felt larger than themselves. It was heartening to see everyone pouring their creative juices into making the outreach initiative a success. Leadership had transformed into camaraderie, and Olivia could feel the bond growing ever stronger. Yet amidst this newfound hope, a nagging sense of insecurity nibbled at the edges of her mind. Did they have enough time to make a real impact? The flight cancellations still loomed like dark clouds, casting shadows over every moment of joy. She often caught herself scrolling through social media, her heart racing as they received uplifting messages from the community. Words of encouragement from strangers filled her with warmth, yet each like also served as a reminder of the fragility of success in the airline industry. One afternoon, just as she was beginning to feel optimistic, Marcus returned to Skyway Dreams. He stood at the doorway, arms crossed, brows furrowed. Olivia's heart sank. "You're still chasing this pipe dream?" He scoffed, his voice saturated with skepticism. The hurt in his words cut deep, striking at the hard-won confidence she had been building. Yet, without missing a beat, she took a breath and stepped forward. "This is not just about business, Marcus. It's about community, about hope. Are you really going to stand there and question that?" Her voice was steady, yet vulnerability slipped through the cracks. He shifted, eyes darting away momentarily. "You think one project will turn everything around? The industry needs more than goodwill, Olivia. It needs accountability and results." She felt a surge of frustration. "And we're working towards that. We're building connections. It's not just a hashtag. It's real. A lot of people depend on us." Marcus rolled his eyes, dismissive, but in that moment, something shifted within Olivia. Instead of succumbing to doubt, she felt a fire ignite. This was her opportunity to showcase their work, to rally her brother with her vision. "Join me for a day, Marcus. See what we're doing firsthand," she challenged, her resolve shining through. What she hadn't expected was his hesitance turning to intrigue. "Fine, but don't expect me to get swept away by your idealism." He followed her, skepticism still etched on his face, but Olivia felt a glimmer of hope that perhaps he could see the light. That as they moved through the various initiatives, they met families relying on the airline, stories of resilience pouring forth. From a woman who shared how her son would be traveling to college with a discount ticket to a local charity organization benefiting from flight donations, Marcus's expression began to soften. When the day concluded, they sat together in the office. For the first time, Olivia saw a flicker of understanding in her brother's eyes. "Maybe you're onto something, Liv. Community can cultivate change." But he hesitated. "It still doesn't solve the cancellations." And just like that, her hope hung in balance. They were on the verge of something bigger, but there was a ticking clock. With every tick, uncertainty loomed. Could they overcome this mountain of doubt and save her airline? The next day at the office, Olivia received an unexpected email that would change everything. The subject line read, "A partnership proposal." She clicked it open, her breath catching as she read the implications. What if this was the breakthrough they needed? What she didn't know was just how deep this partnership would go. Olivia's fingers hovered over the keyboard as she absorbed the details of the email. The proposal was from a nationally recognized nonprofit organization known for fostering community relations. The organization was offering to partner with Skyway Dreams in an initiative that would connect the airline with underprivileged families across the country, providing funding for flight vouchers in exchange for community service hours. It was a promising proposal, one that could not only strengthen their outreach but potentially catch the public's attention in a way that could counter the turmoil of recent flight cancellations. Her heart raced. Could this be it? She whispered to herself. A spark ignited in her chest as she thought about how the partnership might not only stabilize their business but provide real, tangible help to people who needed it most. As she pulled up the organization's website, she noticed testimonials from families who had benefited from their initiatives. Stories of reunions, scholarship opportunities, and hope infused the testimonies. Olivia realized that this partnership aligned perfectly with Together We Fly, and it was time to present her idea to the team. Gathering everyone in the vibrant conference room buzzing with murals of planes and clouds, she felt the familiar electric energy, but it was laced with her own nervousness. What if they didn't see her vision? "Hey, everyone," she greeted, her voice steady but excited. "I've got incredible news. We have a partnership proposal from a national nonprofit that will not only expand our outreach but could also significantly help us mitigate the impact of the cancellations." Eyes widened. Excited murmurs rippled through the room. She continued, "The proposal would allow us to donate flight vouchers to families in need in exchange for community service. Imagine the impact we could have, the lives we could touch." One of the team members, Kelly, leaned forward. This could change everything. We'd be providing real hope and building a loyalty that's rooted in something emotional and genuine. A knot of apprehension still churned in Olivia's stomach. But this is just a proposal. We need to act quickly. The sooner we present it to the board, the better. Time is not on our side. There were murmurs of agreement, but Olivia noticed the uncertainty in some of their eyes. Suddenly, she could hear the echo of Marcus's doubts in her head. Was she being too idealistic? Look, Olivia began, letting her vulnerability show through. I know the industry is facing a storm, but every day, we are reminded of why we do this work. We have a chance to combine our mission with a powerful cause. This isn't just about saving Skyway dreams, it's about lifting up our community. One of her teammates, Tom, clapped his hands together. I say we go for it. We present this proposal with everything we've got. As the team rallied around Olivia's idea, the room filled with a sense of purpose that made her heart swell. But she was still aware of the ticking clock. They have to act fast to secure the partnership. After the meeting, Olivia felt a rush of exhilaration but also a gnawing anxiety. Would the board be receptive? Would they see the value in this community-centric approach? She couldn't shake the feeling that this could be more than just a partnership. Felt like a pivotal moment. A chance for growth, for transformation. But deep down she feared the stakes were higher than ever. A phone notification jolted her from her thoughts. It was a message from Marcus. I've been thinking. This partnership, it might hold more weight than I first believed. Can we sit down later? As Olivia stared at her phone, a mix of hope and anxiety twisted in her gut. Could Marcus finally be coming around? Or was this another hurdle she would have to face alone? The clock ticked in the background, the seconds slipping away. Would her dream be within reach? Or were the doubts still lurking just around the corner? Olivia sat on the edge of her desk, the email from Marcus still flickering on her phone's screen like a firefly in the dim nook of her office. Anticipation clawed at her as she contemplated their upcoming meeting. Perhaps this was her chance to bridge the gap between her vision and Marcus's skepticism. She glanced at the colorful posters on the wall, reminders of what Skyway Dreams stood for: connection, hope, and community. Each image told a story of a family, a reunion, a joy that seemed worlds away just moments ago. Would Marcus see the potential for hope beyond the balance sheet? Gathering her notes, she made her way to the small conference room where they often held impromptu discussions. The warmth of the sunlight pouring through the windows relaxed her nerves just a bit, but her heart raced again as she thought of what she might say. Would he understand? Minutes later, Marcus walked in, his expression unreadable. Olivia's stomach twisted, but she forced a bright smile. Thanks for meeting with me. I've been thinking about the proposal. Of course, he started, leaning against the table. I saw the email. You are really excited about this, huh? I am, she admitted, a nervous laugh escaping her lips. It feels like it could change everything for us. Think about it. A partnership that not only benefits the airline but directly uplifts our communities. Marcus nodded slowly, rubbing his chin as if weighing her words. I know the numbers look good on paper, but you know how volatile the industry is right now. Exactly. It's volatile, and that's why we need to pivot. This partnership isn't just about flights or discounts. It's about rekindling trust. It's about showing our customers we care. She paused, gauging his reaction. We can transform the narrative, Marcus. Have you considered the backlash, though? He pressed. There are critics who might say we're trying to distract from the cancellations and bad press. I can't deny that fear exists, Olivia said, her voice firm. But so many people are struggling, and if we give them hope through this partnership, when they remember how Skyway Dreams made a difference, that narrative can change. Marcus seemed to mull over her words, his serious demeanor softening slightly. That's valid. But we need to come at this with strategy. It's not just about a good feeling. It has to make financial sense too. Of course, she retorted, her passion shining through. I've already started sketching out ideas for how we can get this rolling. Local partnerships, volunteer days, and even social media campaigns. This can amplify our brand while directly engaging customers in meaningful ways. We can track community impact and get stories out there. Really show the world that we're more than just an airline. Finally, a twitch of a smile broke across Marcus's face. I can see that you're fired up about this. And maybe, just maybe, there is something here. We can pitch it to the board together. The realization swept over her a rush of gratitude and excitement. Thank you, Marcus. This could really be our moment. Just then, a voice interrupted their elation. Kelly stood at the entrance, peeking her head in. Sorry to interrupt, but I heard you two talking. Are we really moving forward with the proposal? Because I'm all in. Absolutely, Olivia beamed, her heart swelling with newfound hope. As they hashed out the details over the next hour, ideas flowed like water. The energy was electric, and Olivia felt like she was finally on the verge of something monumental. But as always in life, the unexpected came crashing in. An urgent email popped into Olivia's inbox. It was from the CEO of the nonprofit organization. Subject: urgent matter regarding proposal. Her heart sank. This was it. The moment that could either solidify everything they had worked for or send it all crumbling back down. She hesitated, glancing at Marcus and Kelly, their faces filled with curiosity. Can you give me a second? She asked, her voice shaking slightly as she opened the email. As she read the text, the words blurred, and her breath caught in her throat. What could they possibly want to discuss that was so urgent? Before she could process it, a knot twisted in her stomach, signaling the next wave of uncertainty. Would their dreams be supported, or would they be forced to start from scratch all over again? The future felt precariously balanced, teetering on the edge of what could transform their company and potentially their lives. What would be inside the email that could shift everything? Olivia's fingers trembled as she scrolled through the email, trying to absorb its implications. The message unfolded before her, laden with urgency, just as her heart began to sink further. We need to speak about recent developments, echoed in her mind as she reread that line. It felt like a heavy anchor dragging her hopes down to the ocean floor. Olivia, you okay? Marcus's voice broke through her haze. Concern etched his features, the weight of their conversation overshadowed by something that seemed more pressing. She blinked rapidly, trying to shake off the looming dread. Yeah, just let me read this for a moment, she replied, her voice shaky. She took a deep breath, letting it fill her lungs. The email continued. The CEO had mentioned additional scrutiny on the proposal after recent financial reports had surfaced reports that hinted at tighter budgets, increased layoffs, and dwindling resources. The board needs assurance that investing in our partnership aligns with the current business strategy. Each sentence felt like a sentence of its own, not just for their project but perhaps for her vision. What does it say? Kelly asked, her voice cautiously optimistic. Did they approve? Olivia hesitated, shaking her head slowly, almost hoping it might erase the dread. No, they want to discuss more. They're worried about the timing and about our finances. The knot in her stomach twisted tighter. Kelly's expression flickered from curiosity to concern. Marcus's brow furrowed deeper, and the air around them thickened with unease. This is bullshit, Kelly exploded. We're on the verge of something big. They can't just pull the rug out from under us now. For a moment, Olivia felt her heart racing in agreement. She wanted to scream, to laugh, to kick the walls, anything to let loose the emotions boiling inside her. But she couldn't afford that now. With Marcus's steady gaze on her, she knew she needed to regain focus, at least for them. I know, Olivia replied, her voice a notch calmer. But we can't let this shake us. We still have a chance to fight for this. We have stories, we have enthusiasm, and together, that could be powerful. Marcus straightened up, finally showing signs of engagement. You're right. We need to prepare ourselves, gather data that backs our proposal. Let us showcase the potential partnerships and community outreach we've discussed. If we can highlight those impacts, they might just see past the numbers on a ledger. With every word, Olivia felt the embers of determination ignite again. Exactly. We have to prove that our mission stands stronger than any temporary issue. Kelly nodded, her earlier frustration transforming into fierce resolve. I'll start gathering testimonials from families we've helped. If we show the human element, they can't ignore it. Olivia couldn't help but smile as the gears in their minds began to whirl again. The panic that had enveloped them a moment ago started to dissipate, replaced by clarity and purpose. They were a team, and above all, this was about more than just business, it was about community. But before she could celebrate too much, another message pinged into her inbox. Another email, this time from her mentor, the woman who had always guided her through the murky waters of corporate ramifications and dreams. The subject line read, "We need to talk urgently." Her heart began to race again. Why now? What if this was another obstacle? She quickly opened it. As the words unfolded in front of her, her breath hitched. Was this a roadblock or a guiding light? Could this be the breakthrough they desperately needed, or something that would ultimately change everything? Olivia felt the weight of the moment settle around her like a blanket. She looked at Marcus and Kelly, her heart pounding. What new challenges lay ahead? And would they finally pull through? Olivia's eyes skimmed over the email, her breath catching with every new line. There was a tightening in her chest as she read her mentor's words. "We'll need to discuss some changes." It began, a sentence heavy with implications she didn't want to entertain. "Do you want me to read it?" Marcus asked gently. He could sense her hesitation, and his tone softened, becoming her anchor in this tempest. "Just give me a second," Olivia breathed, steeling herself. She could already feel Kelly's shifting weight beside her, the tension rising like steam. This wasn't just a conversation about business. It was their dreams at stake. Finally, she gathered the courage to face the looming challenge. "She wants to talk about our direction, about what we can do to strengthen our position." Each word felt painstakingly slow, but the urgency to share was fierce. "I think she might know more about the board's concerns." Kelly leaned in, her voice barely a whisper. "What do we do if she doesn't support us?" Olivia's heart raced. What if the one person she admired most doubted her? "Then we show her why she should." There was a flicker of defiance in her tone, but doubt lurked just below the surface. They began to brainstorm, ideas bouncing between them like popcorn in a hot pan. A human interest story, a community feature, testimonials, each thought ignited visuals of families they'd helped, children who had hopeful futures because of their work. This was more than just numbers. This was about real people. "But we need something that will really stand out," Marcus insisted, his brow furrowed as he racked his brain. "A hook, something that makes them pay attention." Olivia could feel the gears turning. Every challenge they'd faced became a catalyst for creativity. What if we create a video? Could showcase the work we've done. Real families, real stories. Maybe we can include footage from events. Kelly was already warming up, excitement creeping into her voice. Moments when lives were changed. If we can pull on their heartstrings, yes. The thrill of possibility surged through Olivia. If we show them what investing in us means for the community, maybe they LLC were worth it. But then a shadow of concern crossed Olivia's mind. Would her mentor believe in their vision? Had she miscalculated the potential backlash? "Are you ready to meet?" Marcus's question cut through her racing thoughts. "I have to be," Olivia replied, determination coating her words. "We all have to be." Just as they were about to dive deeper into planning, a gentle knock on the door interrupted them. It was Carla, their office manager. "Hey Olivia, you've got a visitor, your mentor is here." Heat rose quickly to Olivia's cheeks. She shot a glance at Marcus and Kelly, her stomach twisting. Was this an opportunity or a trap? "I'll be right there," Olivia managed, her voice steadier than she felt. She glanced from Marcus to Kelly, their eyes alike in questions and fears. As she rose to face her mentor, her heart thudded loudly in her chest. What would happen next? Could they align their vision with the concerns of the board? Each step toward that door felt heavy, each one a reminder of what was at stake. With a breath to steady herself, Olivia placed her hand on the doorknob, monitoring her trembling fingers. What awaited her on the other side? Would this encounter strengthen her resolve or send it crumbling down? The answers loomed large as she opened the door. Step into the unknown. and into the fierce battleground of hope and fear. The door swung open, and Olivia was met with the familiar sight of her mentor, Dr. Ellis, standing confidently in the doorway. The seasoned woman's presence radiated authority, but there was something softer in her eyes, an invitation, perhaps, or a challenge. "Olivia," Dr. Ellis greeted, her lips curving into a faint smile. "I hope I'm not interrupting." "No, not at all," Olivia replied, stepping aside to let her mentor enter the room. The air was thick with anticipation, a tight knot forming in Olivia's stomach. As Dr. Ellis settled into a chair, Olivia's gaze flickered to Marcus and Kelly, two of her closest allies. They were silent, their expressions a mix of apprehension and support. "Thank you for meeting with me today," Dr. Ellis began, her tone steady yet encouraging. "I've been reflecting on your email and what the board discussed during our last meeting." Fear raced through Olivia's veins. "So you know about the concerns?" "I do." Dr. Ellis nodded. "And let us be frank. They're valid. But my concern is not about the changes but rather how we achieve them." "What do you mean?" Kelly interjected, her curiosity piqued. Dr. Ellis leaned forward, her eyes commanding attention. "You three have made tremendous strides, but the board is looking for something more impactful. They want to see that you're not just surviving but thriving. They want a reason to invest in your vision, to see you as leaders in the community." Olivia's heart quickened with every word. Was this a glimmer of hope, or was it just more pressure? "I believe in your potential," Dr. Ellis continued, "but we need to show them something that resonates deeply. Something that goes beyond numbers and recaps." "Yes." Marcus perked up. "We've been brainstorming ideas. We think a video could need to do more than just a video." Dr. Ellis interrupted gently. "Anyone can produce a video. You need a story that taps into the heart of people. A story that illustrates the real change you're creating." Tension filled the room like thick fog. Olivia glanced at her teammates, their expressions reflecting both bewilderment and inspiration. "What do you suggest?" Olivia asked, a mix of hope and trepidation threading through her voice. Dr. Ellis paused for a moment. "Start by digging deeper into your community. Find families that have been transformed by your work. Not just statistics but faces and voices. Capture their stories, their struggles, their triumphs, and make it personal. It should feel like a connection, not just a pitch." An idea sparked within Olivia, igniting a warmth through her chest. "Maybe we could partner with local schools," she suggested, her voice gaining strength. "Show how our services have helped students and families directly. We could share testimonies, moments that left a mark on lives." "Yes," Kelly exclaimed, her excitement bubbling over. "And if we incorporate a community event, something engaging where people can interact with us directly, it could draw even more attention." Dr. Ellis smiled, the tension in her shoulders easing slightly. "That's the spirit. But remember, it will require hard work. You'll have to build trust, and you need to genuinely listen to their stories. It's not just about what you want to show. It's about what they want to share." Olivia took a deep breath, the weight of responsibility settling in her chest but somehow feeling lighter all at once. "We can do that. We will do that." "Good," Dr. Ellis said, her eyes alight with a glow of approval. "But you must act quickly. The presentation date is approaching, and we need to create something unforgettable." As hard as she was fighting to keep her excitement in check, Olivia could feel the thrill of possibility brushing against her heart. "We have to make this work not just for us, but for everyone who believes in our cause." "Exactly," Dr. Ellis replied, standing up. "I'll help guide you with the preparations, but you must lead this charge." As they all processed the task ahead, the reality set in this wasn't just another project. This was a chance to change lives, their lives, with their hands at the helm. But as they started formulating a plan, Olivia's mind turned to a lingering question. Would they be able to capture the true essence of their mission? And as she pondered the weight of their next steps, the urgency of the situation started ringing in her ears. Would the audience feel the passion they injected into their project? Or would it all fall flat? The thought lay heavy in the air, an undercurrent propelling them forward into uncharted waters. How could they ensure their voices broke through the noise? The journey ahead seemed daunting, yet the chance to ignite change burned brighter than her fears. The sun filtered through the window, casting warm golden rays across the table where Olivia, Marcus, and Kelly sat hunched over a pile of papers and notebooks. The energy in the room was electric, a cocktail of enthusiasm and determination. They had transformed from mere colleagues into a brainstorming powerhouse, each idea building on the last as they mapped out their community approach. "Okay, let us write it down," Olivia urged, her fingers itching to capture every thought. "What types of families should we focus on? What about those who have received our services but still struggle?" Marcus suggested, tapping his pen against his chin. Their stories would show genuine engagement and highlight the ongoing need. "Exactly," Kelly chimed in, her voice laced with excitement. "We could present a before and after scenario. We need to paint a picture that's relatable. No one wants to see a polished facade. They want reality." Olivia nodded, her heart swelling with pride for her team. They were united, each one fiercely passionate about making an impact. "Let us reach out to the schools first. They can direct us to families who'd be willing to share their experiences. We need real-life narratives to make this personal." As they strategized, Olivia felt the weight of responsibility transform into something lighter, something more like hope. Their cause was no longer just a job. It was a mission that could change lives. They spent hours drafting lists, outlines, and questions that would guide their interviews. The task ahead was significant, but Olivia felt an inner fire grow stronger. They were on the cusp of something transformative, not just for the board, but for the community itself. Later that evening, with the sun setting and the room bathed in twilight, Olivia took a moment to step outside for fresh air. She leaned against the wall, her heart racing. As she gazed at the sky, a mix of sunset colors exploded above her, each hue whispering promises of new beginnings. "Hey, you good?" Marcus's voice broke her reverie, and she turned to see him approaching. "Just thinking," she admitted, biting her lip. "Do you think we can really pull this off? I want our presentation to make an impact, like Dr. Ellis said." Marcus chuckled softly. "You mean, can we change lives with a PowerPoint? It's ambitious, but we've already made a difference in our community. We just have to tell that story." "Yeah, but it's more than just telling a story. It's about connection. Real emotions," Olivia replied, feeling nervous energy shift in her stomach. Before Marcus could respond, Kelly joined them. "Olivia, remember that family we helped last month? The one with the 2 kids? They'd be perfect. Their resilience is inspiring." A light bulb went off in Olivia's head. "Yes, they've faced so many obstacles, but still pushed through. Their story can resonate with so many. We need to make them feel comfortable and trust us so they share their truth." The 3 of them continued to brainstorm into the night, the urgency of their mission reverberating through every word they spoke. They forged plans for face-to-face meetings, making community connections, and working tirelessly to capture all the heartfelt stories they could. As Olivia sat down to write a heartfelt message to those families, she found herself filled with a mix of eagerness and trepidation. Would they be open to sharing their lives with her? Would each story be as bold as she hoped? The boundary between their work and the vulnerable lives they aimed to touch felt both exhilarating and overwhelming. "We're doing something real," Olivia said, her voice steady, "the kind of work that can change perceptions." Marcus and Kelly nodded, and for a moment, they shared a bond of silent resolve. Each faced their own questions of doubt, but they were all determined to move forward. Every word mattered, every story would count. But even as hope bubbled within her, Olivia couldn't shake one fear. What if, in their quest to tell these stories, they accidentally hurt those they aimed to help? She felt a pit forming in her stomach. The clock was ticking, and as they drove deeper into this journey, Olivia realized that vulnerability went both ways. Would their efforts to uplift the community shine or backfire? The next day would bring them face to face with the families, and Olivia's heart raced. Would they be able to connect? Would the truth be enough to break through, like the sunset brightening the twilight? The uncertainty loomed large, but it also ignited something fierce within her. What if everything hinged on this moment? The following morning, Olivia awoke to the crispness of dawn. The early light seeped through her curtains, illuminating the anxious lines on her forehead. She took a deep breath, drawing in the richness of possibility mixed with lingering doubt. Today was the day they would meet the families, and her heart thudded against her ribcage in anticipation. After a quick breakfast, Olivia slipped on a pair of comfortable shoes, her mind racing with thoughts. Would they be receptive? Would the stories they told touch hearts? The questions swirled in her head as she made her way to the community center where they would gather as she entered. The space seemed to hold a vibrancy all its own. Colorful posters adorned the walls, with the smiling faces of children plastered across them. The scent of coffee wafted through the room, blending with the sound of chatter. Marcus and Kelly were already setting up organizing chairs in a welcoming circle, ready to invite families into a safe space. "Morning," Kelly said, her smile brightening the room. "They're going to be here in just a bit. Are you ready?" "I don't know," Olivia admitted, trying to suppress the nervous pit in her stomach. "What if we say the wrong thing or make them uncomfortable?" "Listen," Marcus said, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "It's about honesty and listening. Just be yourself. They're coming here because they trust us." His words wrapped around her like a warm blanket, calming some of the turmoil inside. 5 minutes felt like an eternity, but soon the first family arrived. A mother, followed by 2 wide-eyed children, stepped through the door. They were met with the gentle hum of conversation and welcoming smiles. As more families trickled in, Olivia felt the energy shift. Stories began to fill the air, each unique yet connected through the shared struggles and triumphs of their lives. "Welcome. We're here to listen," Olivia said, her voice steady. She could feel the warmth radiating from her team to the families. It was magic. The discussions flowed naturally. Olivia was amazed by the strength and resilience she encountered. They shared moments of laughter and tears, revealing the layers of their lives. A father spoke of working multiple jobs just to keep food on the table, while a teenager shared dreams of going to college despite the odds stacked against him. As Olivia listened, she felt the weight of their realities settle deep within her. It was both beautiful and painful, revealing the depth of humanity. Each story resonated with her. The hopes, the heartaches, these were the narratives she wanted to capture to inspire others. From across the room, Kelly caught Olivia's eye, and for a brief moment, they exchanged a look of profound understanding. They were in this together, fighting for real change, with every heartbeat echoing the importance of their mission. Time seemed to blur as the conversations continued. Olivia was at once deeply connected to the families while also feeling a sense of urgency. She needed to document these stories, to make sure their truths did not get lost in the shuffle. But as she gathered her notes, a sudden thought struck her. Was she doing enough to showcase their voices authentically? Would she hold their trust as they poured out their truths? Doubt crept back in, bringing its familiar weight. "Olivia, you okay?" Kelly's voice broke through her whirlwind thoughts. Olivia nodded, but the fluttering in her stomach hadn't quite settled. "Let us make sure we really hear them," Olivia replied, her voice firmer now. "We can change lives, but we have to be responsible about it. We owe them that." As the session wound down, Olivia felt a wave of hope. She believed in these families and their strength. She wanted to protect their stories, each one a testament to resilience. But little did she know, a moment was coming that would challenge everything they had worked for. A family that held the key to changing their presentation and possibly their entire mission stood just outside the door. Would they step forward and share their truth? How would Olivia and her team respond when faced with a story that could shake them to their core? As the session began to wind down, the air thick with shared stories and heartfelt connections, a family stood at the entrance just beyond the warmth of the gathering. Olivia noticed them, their hesitant expressions whispering of uncertainty. The father's hand rested protectively on a young girl's shoulder, shielding her from the vulnerability of the moment. Their eyes darted around the room, seeking cues about whether they should step forward. Suddenly, Olivia felt a surge of bravery. "Hey!" she called out gently, her voice breaking through the murmur of conversation. We'd love to hear from you if you're comfortable sharing. After a moment's pause that felt like an eternity, the family moved closer, drawn in by the invite, the warmth of belonging. The mother, her voice shaky yet determined, spoke first. We've heard about what you all are doing. It's inspiring, but we've been on a roller coaster ourselves. With those words, the air around them changed, a tangible shift toward authenticity as their story unfolded. As they shared their journey, Olivia felt her heart race. This family embodied struggle, hope, and unimaginable resilience. The daughter, not much older than 10, began to talk about her dreams of being a musician in spite of the financial struggles their family faced. "I just want to help others like you are doing," she said, her eyes luminous with sincerity. The room fell silent, every person captivated by the sheer courage radiating from this young girl. Olivia felt tears prick her eyes. This is what it was all about. It wasn't just business. It was about creating change and watching that change ripple out into the community. "Thank you for sharing your story," Olivia managed to say, her voice thick with emotion. "This is what I want to capture. The hope, the resilience." She glanced at Marcus and Kelly, who were equally touched, their expressions a blend of encouragement and awe. Time seemed to suspend as the family finished their story, a moment of unity feeling as sacred as a shared prayer. Olivia's mind raced, the possibilities blooming around them. This was the stuff of real connection, the heart and soul they needed to power their proposal. After hearing this, Olivia said, her voice steadier now, "We want to honor your story in our presentation. It's not just about what Skyway Dreams can do. It's about the real impact on lives like yours." The father nodded, visibly grateful. "We'd love to help." With newfound resolve, Olivia gathered her team. "Let us incorporate their story, along with others, into our project. We'll create a compelling narrative that showcases the real struggle and triumph." Over the next few days, they poured their hearts into capturing the stories of those families, documenting the joy and heartbreak, weaving them into a vibrant tapestry that illustrated the impact Skyway Dreams had and could further have. Every interview, every shared glance, became an integral part of their mission. When it was time for the board presentation, Olivia felt butterflies in her stomach, a mix of nerves and anticipation. The stakes were high, and the pressure mounted with every tick of the clock. She stood in the boardroom, her team behind her, the faces of the families etched in her memory. As she began to speak, she felt the weight of their stories lift her voice, powerful and clear. "We are more than just an airline," she proclaimed, her heart racing. "We are a community, and the stories we've gathered are evidence of the lives that will be impacted by the transformation we seek. This isn't just about flights. It's about making connections." Her words flowed like a river, strong and unwavering. As she shared the stories of the families they had met, the struggles and the dreams, she could see the board members leaning in, the initial skepticism replacing itself with engagement. When she reached the story of the young girl dreaming of music, Olivia noticed a few board members with misty eyes, hope illuminating their expressions. "Together We Fly" is not merely a campaign. It can become a movement that would resonate with our customers, inviting them to be part of our mission," she finished, her voice ringing with conviction. Applause erupted, echoing around the room, wrapping around them like a warm embrace. The board members looked at each other, nodding, the collective energy shifting as they realized they were witnessing something special, an authentic connection that had the power to change lives. In the days that followed, the partnership was solidified. Sponsored flights began reaching families in need, and the ripple effects were profound. News stories ran highlighting the initiative, showcasing the power of community airlines and their transformative potential. With every flight that took off, Olivia felt the dreams of her team and the families intertwined. She turned toward Marcus, who had become an unexpected ally in their journey. "I couldn't have done this without you," she admitted, a smile brightening her face. "Let us keep it going," Marcus said, beaming with pride. This was just the beginning. As victory washed over her, Olivia finally felt the weight of her father's voice fade. "You've made our family proud," she whispered to herself, telling the universe that she was ready to fly high. And at that moment, standing among her family, her team, and the community, Olivia Carter felt infinite. This is what they were meant for. To soar together, no longer just surviving but truly thriving. If you felt inspired by this story, this is your moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help more people see this transformation. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. Your words make a difference. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful journey. True fans know the importance of supporting the channel. Let's keep these stories coming.